Short story read, video 4. It was a 70-ton schooner with paraffin auxiliary, and it ran, when there was no headwind, between 4 and 5 knots an hour. It was a bedraggled object. It had been painted white a very long time ago, but it was now dirty, dingy, and mottled. It smelt strongly of paraffin and of the copra, which was its usual cargo. They were within 100 feet of the reef now, and the captain told the steersman to run along it till they came to the opening. But when they had gone a couple of miles, he realized that they had missed it. He went about and slowly worked back again. The white foam of the reef continued without interruption, and now the sun was setting. With a curse at the stupidity of the crew, the skipper resigned himself to waiting till next morning. I have some, I think, 2 or 3 observations before vocabulary here. Oh, by the way, the first one. You'll see that I will always, I don't know if I did that with the previous video, but I think so. I will always post the part of our short story there, okay, for you to check. If you need the whole file, if you prefer the whole file, please just send me a message. I'll send you the link for the whole file, okay? When you're reading, I don't know if you prefer to print it or take a look at the description down here, I would advise you to follow along my first reading when there's a big paragraph there, and underline if you have the printed version, or just to mark the words you don't know. That's important, okay? It seems silly, but that serves it serves the purpose of isolating let's say opaque words in the middle of the text. What do I mean by isolating opaque words in the middle of the text? If you're reading a text and there's a word here you don't know, and you don't acknowledge you don't know that word, the tendency is that word will kind of fog the surrounding of it, you know? So just by telling yourself, I don't know this word, you, let's say, keep the rest of the sentence free from that darkness. Let's put it in a poetic way, right? Okay, that's my first suggestion. My second one is one of grammar, with a curse at the stupidity of the crew. Okay, so when you curse a person, you say bad words, right? So please don't use with when you have this idea of aggressiveness, all right? For example, I'm very mad and then I yell with my son. No, I don't yell with my son. I don't get my son here and say, son, let's yell together, right? I yell at my son, okay? So there is a tendency in English of using at with this idea of aggressiveness, right? Are you mad at me, all right? Even though I've seen, and it's possible, are you mad with me? But it's better, are you mad at me? Okay? Again, the idea of aggressiveness. Just one more. I can get this thing here and I can throw it to you. So it's like this. Okay? Or I can get this thing and throw at you. Alright? So in the second sense, I want to hurt you. Okay, so that's my second observation. The third observation is one that you should be very familiar with by now, but it's worth remembering. The difference between miss and lose. Let's do a little test here, right? Answer to yourself. I don't think you need to pause the video because you're just going to say lose or miss, all right? A wallet. Do you lose or miss? You lose a wallet, okay? A bus. You lose or you miss the bus? You miss the bus, okay? Your favorite, I don't know, soap opera on TV, okay? Soap opera, like, I don't know, Rei do Gado, As Pupilas do Senhor Reitor, Fera Ferida, 4x4, Próxima Vítima, Laços de Família, Tiquititas, Malhação, Chocolate com Pimenta, you know, right? Soap opera. So, your favorite soap opera, you lose or you miss? You miss. A person you really love, you lose or you miss? I mean, you may miss, oh, I miss that person so much, but you know, I lost her in the accident, for example. Okay. A class, do you lose or miss? You miss a class. So remember, in Portuguese we have one word for two concepts, right? Lose, it may be something you have, but then you don't have anymore, right? And then you have to use lose. And miss is something you didn't get. So the train passed, you didn't get the train, so you missed the plane. The train, the plane, the bus, whatever. Your favorite program was on TV, you didn't get it, so you miss. In this case, let's say the opening just passed and they didn't see it, so they miss. Is it possible to lose a bus? Yes, it is if you are, I don't know, a drunk bus driver. You went to this place, you put your bus somewhere, and now you lost it. Okay, where's my bus? That's the idea of lose. Vocabulary here. First of all, schooner. Schooner is a kind of sailing vessel. I put a picture there for you in your Quizlet. All right. Of course, we're talking about older times. Headwind, because remember the schooner could go 5 knots an hour if there was no headwind. Headwind is when the wind comes against the person that is going, okay? And of course, that is going to be very difficult for a sailing vessel, right? But remember that the sailing vessel has a paraffin auxiliary, and this is pretty hard to understand because paraffin is the material you make candles out of, right? Or I don't know, surfers use paraffin. So paraffin auxiliary. So let me read to you the definition I put in the Quizlet. By the way, in some definitions and words I inserted there the phonetical transcript. Little by little I want you to internalize phonetical transcript. I think there is a certain level of English you can, for foreigners, you can just break through higher if you have this very important tool, okay? So take a look at paraffin auxiliary, the definition. A petrol paraffin engine or gasoline, kerosene, I put the phonetical transcript there. Ke, e is like this strange E, so it's the E sound, not E. That's why we don't have just the letter E, right? There is this E upside down, that is sound, okay? I advise you to open your Quizlet and follow along looking at the word. So, kerosene, kerosene, okay? So, engine is, you also have the phonetical transcript there, is an old-fashioned type of dual internal combustion. Again, there's the phonetical transcript there. So it's a dual fuel internal combustion engine with a spark ignition. So it means like you have like a spark, like to start a fire, right? And then you ignite the engine. Designed to start on petrol, gasoline, and then to switch to run on paraffin, because paraffin is another way to say kerosene, okay, once the engine is warm. So remember, this schooner here has two sources of power: the sails through the wind, right? It uses wind, but it also uses kerosene in the paraffin auxiliary engine. Just for you to get an idea, knots, people in shipping and also pilots, right? use knots an hour. So 5 knots an hour, it is about 9.26 kilometers per hour. Not so fast, right? Bedraggled. Take a look. I put a picture of a little very wet and dirty bird there, and this is what it is. Bedraggled is wet and filthy, as though having been dragged through mud. And as a matter of fact, this is where the word comes from. Okay, so somebody got the poor bird, started dragging it, you know, through mud, and then it is bedraggled. You know drag, right? For example, if you kill a person, you are not able to lift the person and put on your shoulder to take somewhere. You start like dragging the person. Or a fridge, right? You don't lift a fridge, you drag the fridge. So that's why bedraggled. Dingy. What I have put here, a dingy boat, to try to connect with the story, to connect your imagination with the story, which is, you know, dull, shabby, dirty. You know, dingy is very much used when I had some sentences there, but I don't know where I put them. Yes, I think they're here, because I stick notes to my wall, so to make videos. Dingy is very used for rooms. Okay, the examples I have here. A dingy room with pizza boxes. You know, one of those guys we see in the movies. I will not work in a dingy car factory. You know, it's not dingy there. And the walls are low. I remember. By the way, I got those examples from Youglish. I think I told you about that, right? So you can get the word in the real context. A woman was talking about this new office, and she was very happy, you know, because all the divisions between, you know, working stations were low, and the place was very open, and you could interact with the other employees, right? Imagine the opposite of that. You are in a dingy room, you know, it's dark, dirty, and etc. Okay, so there is a dingy. Mottled. Imagine you can have a mottled horse. Yeah, that is a horse with one color and then spots of others. I was thinking about dogs, right? Many dogs are mottled, right? Copra. Copra is interesting. Is dried coconut meat. By the way, the flesh. This is another way we call the edible part of a fruit, right? Or similar thing. We call flesh or meat. You know, so the dried coconut meat we call copra. Okay. Steersman. Remember that in your car you have the steering wheel, and then the steersman is the man there on the boat who takes care of the steer, of course, right? Let me see if I have anything else. No. So I'm just going to read again. See if you can picture everything. It was a 70-ton schooner with paraffin auxiliary, and it ran, when there was no headwind, between 4 and 5 knots an hour. It was a bedraggled object. It had been painted white a very long time ago, but it was now dirty, dingy, and mottled. It smelt strongly of paraffin, kerosene here, right? And of the copra, which was its usual cargo. They were within 100 feet of the reef now, and the captain told the steersman to run along it till they came to the opening. But when they had gone a couple of miles, he realized that they had missed it, not lost it, missed it. He went about and slowly worked back again. The white foam of the reef continued without interruption, and now the sun was setting. With a curse at the stupidity of the crew, the skipper resigned himself to waiting till next morning. Okay? As an exercise for this part, I would like you to tell me, read this paragraph, which is quite interesting, and then recording audio telling me what happened there without looking again, just trying to use those words I told you. Okay, so you get the words and you tell the rest of it. You can use your own constructions, but you just make sure you use those words.